live.
Hey, folks. You know what day it is? It's the day after 420. And you know what that means? The International Cannabis Holiday is over, but our friends at Sunset Lake Sabadell are still celebrating with their biggest sale of the year.
This is the Orthodox 420.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. As of tomorrow is their final day. When you check out with the code 420, our friends at Sunset Lake Sabadell will save you 30% site-wide. That includes gummies, tinctures, coffee, hemp flour, vapes, lotions, and more. Whatever. Even better, when you spend over $150, they throw in a 40-count jar of their limited edition microdose citrus vibe gummies for free. That has a little THC in it. Orders over $250 get an additional free jar of THC gummies. Here's the best part. As part of this 420 sale, Sunset Lake has donated $2,500 to the Last Prisoner Project, a nonprofit organization dedicated to redressing the harms caused by our unjust cannabis laws. Last Prisoner Project provides commissary support for incarcerated folks and helps people get back to their feet once they're released from prison. Folks, their product is second to none over at sunsetlakesabadell.com. You're buying directly from the farmers. There's no middlemen or middle women, for that matter, or middle non-binary. It doesn't matter. There's no one there. You're getting it directly from the farmers. They have great farming practices. They don't use pesticides. They use integrated pest management. They use regenerative farming practices they developed with the University of Vermont. There's all sorts of, they are great business practices. And this donation they're making to the Last Prisoner Project is literally just a fraction of where they, of causes they've supported, from Planned Parenthood to carceral reform, refugee resettlement, strike relief funds, all of it. Head over to sunsetlakesabadell.com. Use the coupon code 420. That's the numbers 420 to save 30% site-wide. The sale ends tomorrow night, April 22nd at midnight Eastern Time. See their site for additional terms and restrictions. And now for the show.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, Ellie Mistal, justice correspondent and columnist at The Nation magazine, on when Alito leaves and the shadowy shadow docket. Trump now saying no ceasefire extension with Iran, but that was an hour ago, so maybe he's saying something different now. Meanwhile, Trump fires his third, I'm sure coincidentally, a female cabinet secretary. Surprise, labor secretary. Kash Patel sues the Atlantic for reporting on his incredible drunkenness. VA
it's not
vote
on video or anything.
It's not like we've actually seen him jumping up and down, drinking champagne. VA votes today on Virginia votes today on a gerrymander worth 4 new Democratic seats. Fired British Foreign Office head testified testimony to that he was pressured to approve Epstein-Chum Mandelson as U.S. ambassador, has Keir Starmer treading water. California AG releases documents showing Amazon allegedly colluding to price fix. Meanwhile, Maryland to ban dynamic pricing. Federal chair nominee Kevin Warsh to promise to be strictly independent on rates. Senate gearing up to laugh. Our revolution backs Steyer in California governor race. Meanwhile, Katie Porter's ex-staff issue a defense of her work. Trump using the Defense Production Act to pump more oil. And Republican lawmakers launch a marathon Bible reading event this week.
The old Andy Kaufman bit.
Exactly. It is also week 7 for American journalist Ahmed Shihab Elder. His detention in Kuwait for reporting on a U.S. fighter crash. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is, what is today? Newsday Tuesday, says Emma Vigeland. Here, let me just adjust this a little bit. Here we go.
We're not talking about it. We're not talking about the Knicks. I was at the game, spent my money to go to that game last night, and we're not talking about it further.
Already, I got to be honest. I hadn't even
gift.
Haven't
Was my
encouraged
birthday
me.
gift. Yeah.
Oh, but
yeah.
Speaking of your birthday gifts, why don't you tell people the good news?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
actually,
am I
that
jumping?
is true.
Am I not?
Well,
I'm not.
I was gonna wait, but I mean, there's no, because I do believe that Dr. Lubani is going to send us a video thanking the audience. But like, I'm really just blown away by this. Apparently, for my birthday, I kind of asked if people would donate to the GLIA project, which is, an organization that we've supported before, but Dr. Tarek Lubani is a part of it. They help support Gaza's physicians, and they do so with open source medical tools, solidarity work, and all of that. And Dr. Lubani reached out and told me that it's been 1,000 donations. And that because of this audience's generosity, they've raised enough money to run the wound care service for a full month. That's 30 nurses and healthcare providers, along with supplies and equipment. So, I mean, I'm just blown away. Thank you all so much. And if you want to support the GLIA project, you can go to glia.org and continue to support their incredible work in Gaza.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you, and thank you to the audience. Really impressive stuff. Yes. We'll play the video. We can do
when
both.
He sends it. He's in Gaza, so I'm trying not to hound him.
Does he have more important things to do?
Some important stuff going on there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, meanwhile, on the Hill today, Kevin Warsh, who is on the board, the Federal Reserve, but he is being nominated to be chair, I believe. Here he is being grilled. Let's start with, should we start with 1A, as it were, on the election? Because the ostensibly, I mean, this is the way that it was written up in the news, was that he is going to be independent. Because the concern is that Donald Trump is going to get this guy to lower rates, because that juices the economy short term. Now, of course, we are fighting inflation because of Donald Trump's tariffs, although now he's having to give that money back. Now, every American, it is estimated, every American family paid $1,000 worth of tariffs. But because we don't know which products they paid, because some importers absorb some of that, we're not going to see any of that money when the Treasury gives out the $160 billion some odd dollars that it collected in tariffs back as a rebate to these companies. So we're fighting inflation on that front. We're fighting inflation because, of course, food prices are probably going to skyrocket because of Iran. Oil prices have gone through the roof because of Iran and everything that's downstream from those things. Chips because of nitrogen, because of our war with Iran. And so Trump wants him to juice the economy, even though that might create even more inflation, because, of course, he wants to see if he can maintain some chance in 2026 to retain the House and the Senate and not get impeached. So Warsh has promised to be independent. Does this sound like independence? Let's play number 1A.
I'll take that as a no as well.
My
so
assets
Donald
before
Trump
I take
has
office.
made clear that he does not want an independent Fed. In fact, he has said, and I quote, "Anybody that disagrees with me will never be Fed chairman." And he's made clear that you are his sock puppets, saying last week that interest rates will drop, quote, "when Kevin gets in." Yeah, I think they do. Not when economic conditions change, we'll get lower rates. Not when the economy needs it. Nope. He said, when my guy, Kevin Warsh, is in there, we'll get the interest rates that I, Donald Trump, wants. So independence takes courage. Let's check out your independence and your courage. We'll start easy. Mr. Warsh, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election?
We try to keep politics, if I'm confirmed, out of the federal.
I'm just
Reserve.
asking you a factual question. I need to know, I need to measure your independence and your courage.
Senator, I believe that this body certified that election many years ago.
That's not the question I'm asking. I'm asking, did Donald Trump lose in 2020?
And I'm suggesting you in
I'm
2020, the
suggesting
Fed
you
made
can't answer that.
your huge inflation problem, and you certified the election.
So
You
let
need
me
to keep
ask you
politics
another
out of
question.
monetary policy.
In our meeting, you
I mean, the guy can't even answer if he won the 2020 election. I mean, if he wants to stay out of politics, why is he talking about certification? Like, why is he? I refuse to answer because it's a political question. It's an assessment of a political question. But is it really an assessment of a political question? Did the sun rise yesterday? How about that? Let's start with that easy fact.
I
don't want to get into geology, to astronomy.
Right. But Warren was smart there to lead with that because you know that is Trump's like #1 litmus test question for anybody. That's like at the top of the list of his hazing ritual.
This is going to come up when we talk to Ellie Mistel in a moment. But there have been members of the Democratic members of the Senate Judiciary Committee who have not asked this question of a lot of lifetime appointees to the judicial. And this seems to be an incredibly important litmus test as to just like how much people are willing to twist reality for the sake of staying in Donald Trump's good graces. And so if Warsh here will not answer that question, he has also answered the question of his independence. Here's another one where Elizabeth Warren...
she makes it and then she says, okay, I'm going to make it about the economy then. Let's go. If that's the only thing you're going to answer. And spoiler alert, he can't demonstrate independence from Trump even in that instance.
has been plagued by deeply disturbing ethics scandals in recent years involving at least 6 Fed officials. So it's critical that the next chair have no financial conflicts, none. You have more than $100 million in investments.
This is one, not two.
That you have refused to disclose.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Let's do number 2.
Yep.
Gotcha. It's gonna be tight.
In our meeting, you said
policy out
you
of
would
politics.
be independent because you're, quote, a tough guy. Those were your words, tough guy. And you will be able to stand up to President Trump. So let's try it again. Name one aspect of President Trump's economic agenda with which you disagree.
Well, Senator, the Federal Reserve in recent years has wandered outside of its remit, wandered into other areas.
I'm asking for something
That's
you
not something
disagree
I'm
with
prepared to
Donald
do.
Trump on.
If I'm
Just
confirmed,
one
the Federal Reserve should
economic
stay in its
issue.
lane.
Just one little place where you disagree with Donald
Well, I
Trump.
do have a disagreement, actually, Senator, with the president. I think even this morning, he said that he thought I was out of central casting. I think Central Casting, I'd look older, and maybe show up here with a cigar of sorts.
Quite adorable. But you know, we need a Fed chair who is independent. That's the only way we preserve the independence of the Federal Reserve.
I
If you
agree.
can't answer these questions, you don't have the courage and you don't have the independence.
I agree with you on independence, Senator.
Yeah, the thing is Trump said I was hot, but I'm so humble that I'm gonna tell you I'm not that hot, okay?
I'm too young.
What was that last thing though he said? I disagree with you on the independence. But
No, I agree.
I agree.
Oh, you need to have. Oh, so he doesn't agree that you need to have courage.
Maybe not that part,
let
right?
himself off the hook there.
Yeah. He is deep in bed with Silicon Valley. I hadn't realized this. There's a really good CNBC article that came out yesterday that laid this out. But in 2022, he was going on Alex Karp's podcast, you know, the Palantir, the head of Palantir. He has ties to Peter Thiel, Yahoo founder Jerry Yang, Mark Andreessen. His connection with him goes back decades to college at Stanford. He made a bunch of tech investments as well in his disclosures. It's shown that he has at least nearly $200 million in terms of his net worth, potentially more. He's invested in Palantir. He did so when he was working with another billionaire, Stanley Druckenmiller. He's invested in crypto, AI, a company that produces a robotic barista that automatically serves a latte. So this is somebody who would be the wealthiest Fed chair ever. And like all of these Trump nominees, the distinction between like public service and enriching yourself privately is non-existent. There's no ethics there.
Also, you know, if he's one of those tech bro guys, then one more reason to believe that there may not be the independence that we might want out of the Fed chair. All right. In a moment, we're going to be talking to Elie Mystal, justice correspondent and columnist at The Nation magazine. First, a couple of words from our sponsors. I've always, I'm getting older. I think that's no secret to anybody. And I'm always looking ways to extend my life and to make myself healthier. And Prolon has been a part of it. My sister just tried Prolon. And Prolon is a 5-day fasting mimicking diet that works at the cellular level to reset and rejuvenate you from the inside out. It supports sustained fat loss, lean muscle, metabolism, slower aging, and even glowing skin. My sister just did this again, and they recommended doing it maybe twice a year or so. And she said it was hard the first couple of days, and then it got easier, and then it got hard again. But it wasn't nearly as hard as she thought it was, and she felt great afterwards. And she's already lining up the next time she's going to do it. 'Cause, you hear the word fasting, you think really hard. But when I have done it, I actually found I had more energy. I thought I was going to be a wreck, and I wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like super fun, but it's not a diet. It's science. And you get the benefit of this reset. And it was developed at the USC, I think it was Longevity Institute. When you're craving a real reset, Prolon works for you. It's convenient, it's backed by science, and it works. If you're ready for your own reset, for a limited time, Prolon is offering the Majority Report audience 15% off a site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/majority. That's PROLONLIFE.com/majority to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/majority. Also, and we'll put the information in the podcast and YouTube description. Also, you know what time of the year it is? It is time to plant. And did you know that Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Well, the fact is, I knew most of that over a decade ago. I didn't know about the 2 million happy customers, and maybe there weren't, I don't know, 10 years ago. But the point is, I've been using Fast Growing Trees for a decade, certainly years and years before they became sponsors. Why? Because they have all the plants your yard or your home, for that matter, needs. We're talking fruit trees. We're talking privacy trees. We're talking trees that flower. We're talking shrubs. We're talking house plants, small house plants, big house plants. We're talking long grass. It goes on, and it's all grown with care and guaranteed to arrive healthy. It's like your local nursery, but anywhere you live, with more plants than you find anywhere else. Whatever you're looking for, Fast Growing Trees helps you find options that actually work for you. They check your growing zone. You know, New York is, anywhere from 6. You can get hit 6, I think, at one point, but 5 and then lower. Fast Growing, they check your lifestyle. They check, maybe you're not going to be home and your plants need water so they'll sell you something that doesn't need as much water. They'll look at your space. There's no more putting a crappy one of 2 trees that were at the big box store in the back of your Subaru and dirt all over the place. They have an Alive and Thrive guarantee. It promises your plants arrive happy and healthy. No green thumb required. Just quality plants you can count on. Plus, like I say, you can get support from their trained plant experts. They'll help you plan your landscape. They'll help you choose the right plants, how to care for them every step of the way. I have gotten fruit trees from them in the past. I've gotten bloomerangs that are a lilac tree that blooms both like in May and in July. I've gotten houseplants. I'm not so good with houseplants, but they arrive healthy and happy, and then sometimes they run into me. But the point is, they have everything you could imagine. Right now, they have great deals. Get an American pawpaw. That's what I think is the future. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. Our audience gets 20% off your first purchase when using the code majority at checkout. That's an additional 20% off better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com. Use the code majority at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com. Code is majority. Now is the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use majority to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. We'll put the link in the podcast and YouTube description. Quick break, and when we come back, Elie Mystal, justice correspondent and columnist at The Nation magazine. We are back. Sam Seder, Emma Vigland on the Majority Report. Always a pleasure to welcome back to the program Ellie Mistal, justice correspondent and columnist at The Nation magazine. Ellie, well, here we are. We're still standing, barely. But there's a couple of things I want to talk to you about the Supreme Court. One is maybe we should start with, let's start with this piece that you wrote last week. And because I am convinced, as you are, as to your conclusion about this, and I would even extend it to Clarence Thomas, and that is Donald Trump has the sense, and I think more than Donald Trump have the sense, that there's a chance the Democrats could take the Senate in the fall, and in which case the clock is ticking for Donald Trump to replace two of the oldest justices on the court. Tell us about that.
Yes. First, thanks for having me, Sam. Nice to see you, Emma.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. So look, Sam Alito is 76 years old, and he notoriously does not like Washington, D.C. His wife notoriously does not like Washington, D.C., right? He is in that area where it is time for him to retire, and he would most likely want to retire under a Republican president because Alito is exactly that political. He wants to be replaced by somebody who's going to carry on his legacy. He does not want to make the Ruth Bader Ginsburg mistake. All right. So that's where that's the stage, right? As we head towards the midterms, if the Republicans are confident that they will hold on to their lead in the Senate, they have a 53 vote majority in the Senate right now because Mitch McConnell already killed the filibuster when it comes to Supreme Court appointments. You only need 51 votes, or with J.D. Vance, 50 votes to confirm a Supreme Court nominee. So as long as the Republicans hang on to the Senate, Alito doesn't have to worry about 2026. But if there's a chance that they don't, then it becomes somewhat politically imperative for him to really think about retiring. Now, I pieced together that Alito has a new book coming out. And that book is coming out on October 3rd, 2026. That's interesting because you know what happens on October 2nd, 2026? That's when the Supreme Court term starts, right? The book comes out on a Tuesday. The Supreme Court starts on the first Monday in October. It is weird. It is weird for a justice to release a book right at the beginning of the term. If you go back and you look at the last 4 or 5 books released by sitting Supreme Court justices, they happened in September. They happened the month before the Supreme Court starts. They happen when people are talking about the upcoming term, but they're not busy. They're free to fly around the country and come on shows like this and do interviews and do book talks and sell their books. So it seemed to me that with an October release of his book, Alito wasn't planning on having a real job come October, right? Then you have all this other heat from the Senate, right? You have John Thune and Chuck Grassley saying, just by the way, FYI, Sam, we're ready to appoint your successor. We got Donald Trump saying, I'm ready, I'm prepared to nominate a successor. Like, you have all this heat from the Republicans that to me are signaling to Alito, hey, the time to get out is now. Basically, the Republicans are doing everything that the Democrats, didn't do in 2014 with RBG, right? So they are trying to ease Alito into that long good night, into that that lucrative retirement that he surely has awaiting for him before the midterms. And that tells me that the Republicans are not 100% confident of their position in the upcoming midterm. So that's where I think the field of play is. Now, since I wrote that, Alito's people have come out and said he is definitely not retiring. He is
really. Oh, well, I'm sorry we invited you on. The case closed.
Right.
We don't need to.
Right. Well, Republicans never lie, Sam. So, why? What's that? Look, he has hired clerks, which is an interesting thing. Basically, the Supreme Court gets 4 helpers, research assistants, law clerks per term. They're, by the way, the most important job to get out of law school. That's the job that sets you up for your future legal or judging career. So he's hired 4 of them already. It's a little bit early to hire clerks. Now, justices have retired after hiring clerks before, but that is a sign pointing to the fact that he might well be, all in it to win it in 2026, 2027. So that is a legit piece of information that cuts against my point. But the politics of it all is really what's driving this issue, and the fact that we know Sam Alito cares about politics. We know that Sam Alito reads the papers. We know that Sam Alito watches Fox News. He calls into the Wall Street Journal editorial board. He is more politically aware, let's say, than the average justice, or at least he's willing to show that he's more politically aware than the average justice. And given the realities of the upcoming midterms, it makes kind of logical political sense for him at 76 years old to retire before the midterms and let Trump appoint somebody just as awful as him, but 30 years younger.
And I will say the other sort of, I guess, piece of evidence I would suggest that he plans to retire, particularly because he must be aware that, he may have, I think if there wasn't a potential for a Democratic takeover of the Senate, if it was like any other year, and there wasn't all of these signs that the Democrats could actually literally pick up 4 seats, maybe more even, in this environment, I think he'd probably wait until the second half of this term. But here's why I think he will go. Vergonia.
Right.
When Alito's wife was recorded talking about all of the the horrible LGBT flag across the lake or whatever it was, she said something to the effect of like, the statute of limitation, we're going to get out before the statute of limitations or something, and I'm going to be able to talk. And that was like, that was a couple of years ago. And so I think she was always planning to have Alito retire during Trump's term, but that was presumed that they would maintain the Senate. And so I think that I don't think there are any tea leaves to read. I think he's gone. And here's the only one question I have for you, though. That Thune said it publicly, and you mentioned this in your piece, is interesting because it suggests that, A, Thune's not talking to Alito directly, or even back channeling it, which is interesting. Like, he doesn't want to pressure Alito because these guys are so full of themselves, but he's basically, forgive me, he's raising a flag, as it were, and letting Alito know.
100%. Because look, there was no reason for Thune to say that. What Thune said, for those who don't know, Thune essentially said the Senate is ready to confirm a nominee before the midterms. Yeah, no, duh, John Thune. Everybody who's paying attention knows that if there is an opening in June, the Republicans will shove through a nominee before November. Everybody knows that they're going to do that, or at least try to do that. So Thune doesn't have to come out and say, we're going to try to do this. Yeah, everybody paying attention knows that. So why does he say anything at all? If anything, saying something risks, and I know this is a small possibility, but risks alerting Democrats to the problem. I mean, it's sometimes hard to wake up the Democratic Party. It's sometimes hard to wake up, hey, Chuck Schumer, you got this fight coming. If anything, Thune saying that only tells Chuck, oh, by the way, this is happening, when Chuck might honestly not be paying attention or might not know. So that's the downside of Thune saying something. What's the upside? The upside is putting pressure on Alito. The upside is letting Alito know that the water's fine. It's also potentially, this is what I'm saying about Thune having access to polling data that Sam Alito does not. Yes. And so it could also be a way of Thune saying like, hey, we're not as confident about 2026 as we were 6 months ago, 8 months ago, a year ago, right? We might need you to do this now just to be sure, just to be safe, because 2026 is up in the air. I personally, I think Republicans are going to hold on to the Senate. I still think that, your betting money is that they'll lose the House and they'll hold on to the Senate. But Thune knows Thune knows things that I don't know. And
that may be a bet that I'm willing to take with you, but that aside, what about Thomas? Like, because it seems to me that Thomas has been on Harlan Crow's payroll for 20 years now, or 20, maybe more, 22, since he basically said, like, I need more money. I can't stay on the court. Like, he was going to leave in 2004. And he just started telling, all his Federalist Society buddies, like, I'm broke. I need to go out and make some money. And then all of a sudden he has a new best friend, Harlan Crow, a billionaire, and his, mom has a new house and his kid goes to private school and he gets to fly on jets and et cetera, et cetera. What about Harlan Crow coming in and going, hey, Clarence, I got a job for you, a no-show.
Look, if Harlan Crow changes his money situation, that is something that might change his decision-making matrix. But here's the thing, Sam. There really are two kinds of Supreme Court justices. They're the ones who love being a justice, who just love the job, love the power, love the attention. And they're ones who like the job, who like the power, but don't actually like the job, don't actually like the attention, the scrutiny, the vergonia of it all, right? And Thomas is in the other camp, right? Thomas is one of those people who loves being a justice. I personally think Clarence Thomas is leaving in a coffin. I don't think he will ever willingly retire from that job. There's the possibility that he could get really, really sick and, as octogenarians sometimes do, and simply not be able to do the job. But as long as he is able to stand upright and read documents, I think Thomas is in it to win it. Unlike Alito, I don't think Thomas is this crazy. I don't think that he cares about being replaced by a Republican as much as one might think he does. He's living his own best life, and I don't think that this is a man that gives a damn, particularly what happens after he dies. That's certainly nothing about his personality suggests that he has any kind of empathy or care for what comes after him. He's all about him in the moment, right? There's another literal stat here that's worth pointing out. Clarence Thomas, if he hangs on to 2028, sometime in 2028, he becomes the longest serving Supreme Court justice ever. He becomes the longest serving Supreme Court justice ever if he's there in 2028. And I believe that is a record he wants. He recently said, I don't even count the years that I've been here. Liar. I know you're counting. I know there's a big X on the date on your calendar. Like, he wants that record. I don't think there's any chance he's retiring before the midterms because he doesn't get the record if he does that. He gets the record before the 2028 election, right? He gets the record before Vance v. whoever, or if that's even Trump v. whatever we do in 2028. So there's a bigger chance that he retires in 2028 than I think there's no chance he retires in 2026. Because he wants the record. Because it's put like this. Clarence Thomas is only going to be in the African American Museum of History in the sometimes it be your own people section, right? He's only going to be in the Sam L. Jackson, Stephen from Django section of that museum. But longest serving Supreme Court justice, that is a title that you can never take away from him. And I think he wants it.
Well, all right. So let's just talk briefly about the Democrats being on top of this. Producer
you said Democrats, my dogs that are barking.
There you go. Fair enough. Well-trained dog. The producer emeritus of this program, Josh Orton at Demand Justice, has been ringing this bell for a couple of months. Like, you got to get ready for this. Because it seems to me I would bet, I mean, I'm not a betting man, but I would bet a lot that Alito is going to retire and somebody's going to make it worth his while. Like, he's gonna have a sinecure. I mean, part of the way that justices were encouraged to retire 100 years ago was to create pensions for them, so that they could actually go and retire and live their best life. What would Democrats, assuming for a moment, and this is a big assumption, and maybe this is too steep of a thought experiment, but that we had competent Democratic leadership in the caucus, how would they prepare for this? Like, what would they be doing right now? What would the members of the Judiciary Committee? What would the Democratic leadership be doing? What would they be doing?
Okay, so first of all, full disclosure, I am actually also on the board of Demand Justice.
Well, there you go.
I am deep in this world. I care about this deeply. So just so your viewers know that. What would they do? Well, I got some ideas, and the key is this is a time for education. Right now, most people don't know the judges or potential justices that Trump might nominate. Right. And this is the time that if I was in charge, I would be doing everything I can to educate first my own caucus and then the American people about who these people are. What I noticed, and I pointed this out in one of my Nation posts, when I was trying to get people to care about this because Andy Oldham is coming and Jennifer Mascott is coming and James Ho is coming, people are just like, oh, God, that sounds bad. Anyway, Iran. When Chuck Grassley said we should nominate Ted Cruz, my social media blew up. Just liberals just said, oh my God, we can't let Ted Cruz be the next. Like, people understand who Ted Cruz is. People understand why Ted Cruz is a problem. People would organize and activate around stopping Ted Cruz from becoming a Supreme Court justice, right? And partially it's because Ted Cruz is odious and punchable, but also he's a public figure that people know. People don't know Jen Mascott. People don't know that I would rather have Ted Cruz than Andy Oldham. They don't know why. I would certainly rather have Ted Cruz than James Ho, and people have no idea why a reasonably intelligent person would say that, and it's because the people aren't educated as to how potentially bad these potential justices are. You'll get a lot of heat like Eileen Cannon, oh no, because again, she's kind of famous, but the people most likely to get the job, our people don't know about them. And not just our people, our Democrats in Congress, in the Senate, don't know about most of these people. I've had opportunity off the record to speak with some of these senators, and their knowledge of anything happening at the circuit court level is light, let's say, right? They know more about taxes than I do. I know more about Jen Mascott than they do, right? Like, that's kind of how it works. But you need to educate your people right now so that a public information campaign can be raised against them, so that when Trump says it's going to be Jim Ho, there is already, there are already people in place who understand what that means and are willing to fight it. So that's right now, while Alito still has the job, that's the number one job, educating people and getting them ready to go. Now, ready to go do what? Because of what McConnell did with the filibuster, there is shockingly little procedural power the Democrats have to be able to stop a Supreme Court nominee. They literally cannot even filibuster. All you can do are stunts and protests and that kind of stuff. But I always go back to Brett Kavanaugh. We really almost stopped him. We really almost stopped him. I honestly think that if Dianne Feinstein had publicized the allegations earlier in the process, we might have stopped him. The Senate is used to being able to smooth roll these justices with relatively speaking minimal complaint. Just relatively speaking, the Kavanaugh protests were the biggest they ever saw, and that's kind of nothing. Even the Kavanaugh protests were minimal compared to like what this country is able to do when they want to, let's say, protect Obamacare. When senators are going home back to their districts, they're not getting peppered with questions. Why are you confirming this judge? Why are you thinking about that? That's not happening. If that starts to happen, because with the truncated timeline, Trump is only going to get one shot at replacing a Sam Alito before the midterms. And if he picks the wrong person and we have enough public outrage, outcry, protest, senators are getting called every which way, it can't be this guy, it can't be this guy, that's your only hope. And again, it's the Gandalf, it might be a fool's hope. Like, it's not, I don't want to give false hope. It is a slim chance.
Right.
But there is a slim chance that overwhelming public outcry against a justice could stop that justice from being confirmed before the midterms. There's a chance.
Let me ask you this question, and this is like we're deep into hypothetical territory, and I guess it's really a function of who the nominee is, right? I mean, because in the context of Kavanaugh, I mean, it was both because we were in an era, a Me Too era, that I think those charges resonated. And it was also because he was so clearly, obviously lying at different parts of his. I mean, I distinctly remember a moment, and I think it was like, when he was describing what they wrote in the yearbook about, I can't remember her name.
Christine Blasey Ford.
Yes. And it was so clear to every single person. I can't remember specifically what was written, but he was characterizing it in such a blatantly dishonest way that every single person, his wife sitting next to him, the senators on the dais, everyone in the audience, they all knew he was blatantly lying. And he almost was like the first person to do what Trump did, which is, if you just refuse to back down from that blatant lie, you get credit for telling the truth. Like that's basically it. It's like, if you can maintain that lie, it was a Renata alumnus, I think it was who it was written against. And that blatant lie, I was like, oh, we have moved into a different era. This is where the Trumpism, but with that aside, my point, that was a long-winded way of saying, what elements do you think that might be almost generically in these the background of these nominees, in terms of the way they've ruled in particular, that might be the most fertile ground to get people to rail against them?
Yeah, well, I'm going to answer kind of your long-winded part first, because I think one thing that I have sadly learned about this country and about the Republican Party, it's not that they don't believe sexual assault occurs. It's that they don't care.
Right. No,
I think that's what we've learned from Trump. I think that's what we've learned from Kavanaugh. When you looked at the senators, when you asked the senators in real time, most of the senators believe Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. They just didn't care. They just don't care. And so as I think about stopping future horrible people, what I realize is that convincing them, sorry, my dog has decided that they're the world.
I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing a little at the dog who's out of frame, but is patting on the window. Very cute.
very, very much trying to get the squirrel. What I've learned is that, so when I think about going after the future people, sexual assault is not going to be the thing. Because the Republicans have already onboarded that as an okay thing for Republican men to do, right? However, some of the ways that they treat people is, I think, still fertile ground. I think corruption still is fertile ground. So like when I look at a James Ho, and we're talking about how Clarence Thomas is on Harlan and Crow's payroll, you know where James Ho, the current Fifth Circuit Judge James Ho, you know where he was sworn in to be a Fifth Circuit judge? In Harlan Crow's library by Justice Clarence Thomas, right?
Oh
and so when you start making the corruption connections to some of these guys, and Eileen Cannon has, her Mar-a-Lago ishness, right? I think that is something that the public will not accept. I think that whatever you think about the justices in terms of their political views and their judicial views, there is an expectation that they are on the level. And if you can show that they're not on the level, if you can show that they're bought and paid for, I do think that the public will act particularly negatively to that. So I think that is a place where, and ProPublica will find it. Like, right. It ain't gonna be me, but like when one of these people gets like whatever dirt that person has, ProPublica is gonna find out. And then bringing that to the fore and making that the thing that you stand on, I think that has some legs. I think there are a couple of justices, Ho is one, Andy Oldham is another. When you look at what they actually write and take their opinions to their logical conclusion, I mean, Andy Oldham is out here basically fighting the 10th Crusade. I mean, he is that level. Everybody's talking about how Amy Coney Barrett's a Christian conservative crazy. That's Andy Oldham to a T. Right. And I think that the religiosity is something that you can, especially in this current environment, that you can kind of bring out of them. So I would love to say that personal lying is enough, but Republicans don't care.
What about, I wonder if there is enough in this populist moment to look upon these justices. I mean, Joe Biden was the first Democratic president we've had in a long time, who brought in a array of candidates to sit on the federal judiciary. I personally think Ketanji Brown Jackson is the best Supreme Court nominee that we've gotten from a Democrat, from anybody really, for that matter, in like decades. Yeah. At least in terms of, my
public
politics.
Defender, not a part of the private defense
not
system.
a corporatist.
Yeah.
I mean, also has just like just also a brilliant person, but not a corporatist, and much of like what we see from the Federalist Society is to support an oligarchy or any of that type of stuff. I wonder how much you think that could resonate as a, tied in with like sort of the Epstein class type of situation.
I think it could. I think it should. Look, Joe Biden, I always give him credit for this. He is the most impactful nominator of judges that we have ever had. His record is better than any of the other 45 guys to come before him, just straight up. Biden was that good when it came to appointing judges, because not just do you have the racial and gender diversity, you have all the experiential diversity, right? As Emma was saying, Ketanji Brown Jackson comes from a line of public defenders. There are a lot of judges that Biden nominated that come from that more public defense line as opposed to criminal prosecution line, which is new. He appointed judges for more law schools than any other president ever has. Like the breadth of law schools was great. So I think Biden was great on that. I would hope that the next Democrat continues in the Biden tradition in terms of appointing judges. Republicans, look, and I guess this is going to sound reductive and a little bit racist, but whatever. There are three Republicans. Like there are two Republican men and one Republican woman, and they just rotate around. And at some point, they all look the same to me. Like they're three archetypes of Republicans. Right. You've got the super Christian warrior Republican. You've got the super business, I'm on Epstein Islands Republican. And I'm not saying those two are mutually exclusive, right? And then you got the Mar-a-Lago face woman Republican. Like those are your, the internalized patriarchy Republican. Like those are your three. And they just kind of like, pick one of the three. I think they throw a dart on the board and be like, oh, it's time for the Mar-a-Lago face. Okay, it's time for and they just throw them out there, right? And they're all it's like they're all on the island, right? They're all the same. They're all the same person. And I would like to think that at some point America gets sick of these three people running everything, right? But so far I haven't seen a lot of evidence of that. I haven't seen a lot of evidence that America is yet sick of the three Republicans that we are regularly treated to.
All right. Lastly, I want to be able to talk about the shadow docket, but Leonard Leo, he was not necessarily the head of the Federalist Society, but essentially the titular head, if you will. And he was the one who basically created, along with Mitch McConnell, the sort of like judicial landscape we have today. The Federalist Society is this group that started in the 90s, I think it was, that basically provided discipline to conservative and Republican wannabe judges, and basically said, like, here's the things that you have to do, and here's how you have to rule, and here's how you have to write publicly, and here's the ideas you have to adopt. It created a lot of like mushy thinking, mushy because they were just told what doctrines to accept without having to rationalize or justify them in any way. But they also basically provided a great placement, job placement function. But supposedly Trump had a falling out with Leonard Leo a while back because some of his judges ruled against Trump, and Trump is not as concerned with conservative doctrine as he is like whatever benefits Trump doctrine. Leonard Leo has gone off to spend $1 billion literally on some type of organization, shadowy organization. We don't know. But what of the Federalist Society? What of the lack of Leonard Leo here?
Yeah, I think that makes, whenever Trump gets a new appointment, I think that makes it one of the more interesting appointments in recent memory, because the Federalist Society has controlled Republican judicial picks going back to George H.W. Bush. And now they're kind of on the outs. So I got two answers for that in the time we have left. One, the new guy to look out is Mike Davis. He's a former Neil Gorsuch clerk. He was formerly Chuck Grassley, who's the head of the Senate Judiciary Committee. He was his guy picking clerks. He is an odious man. He's a mean person. I personally do not like him. He is probably the person who is going to be in Trump's ear the most when it comes to the next Supreme Court appointment, because he's got kind of like Federal Society bona fides, but he's also one of these MAGA Trumpers, might makes right, we have to support the president, right or wrong kind of guys, in a way that Leo and his people weren't. So I follow Mike Davis, even though I think he's an odious human being, because I feel like he is going to be a person with an inside track on who it's going to be and how Trump is thinking on the one hand, right? So that's something to look at. The other thing to look at, though, is, it is, as you say, Trump is so burnt, felt so burned by the Supreme Court rejecting his 60 election denying lawsuits, so burned right now by tariffs, like he's so burned by John Roberts. He that whole thing that Republicans, they don't stick together. They do, like 98% of the time, but like he only cares about loyalty to Trump, and that's it. And so I do think that whoever ends up rising above the fray will be the person who comes into the Oval Office and licks Trump's boots the best, like genuflects to Trump the best, shows Trump their drawers the best. And it's hard to know who's that going to be, because it's hard to know who has no pride and dignity. Like,
Right.
Like, you read these people and you read these opinions, it's hard to know who in the final analysis has no pride and will.
But which
bend
one's
the knee.
hotter, Ellie? I mean, that's really what the tiebreaker is going to be.
You are not wrong to ask that question, because that is a legit question when it comes to Donald Trump. Yeah. He wants a judge to look a certain way.
Put on this robe and spin around.
Right? The male judges have to have square jaws. The women judges have to have the Mar-a-Lago face. And this is going to sound like I am crazy, but I am not. Jennifer Mascott, who is a lower circuit judge, who has been getting a lot of hype and heat and whatever, look her up. Look up her makeover. Go Google a picture of Jennifer Mascott from 6 years ago, and go look at a picture of her now. Right, Emma? Right? I'm not crazy.
Jennifer Mascott, and Matt's gonna pull her up. But okay, how old is she? She's 50. That's a little old, but she's
got the Trump makeover, hasn't she?
She's
hasn't
hot.
she? But go.
Jennifer Mascott. We want a photo of this blonde lady.
So one of the reasons I've been like, wait, Mascott's like a dark horse candidate for this job. Look, Jennifer Mascott. So don't tell me that Trump, right? There's the picture, right?
Yeah.
That's
on Google Images, it's even blonder.
And that's not how she looked 5 years. Folks, that is not how she looked 5 years ago. That is not how she looked 8 years ago. So what Trump's desire for a judge to look like a certain kind of person.
I mean, that's going to be our next Supreme Court justice. I feel like that's. But although, do women judges? I don't know about that. Maybe she should be. Maybe she's the next Attorney General.
Look, he appointed Amy Coney Barrett. Like he appointed Amy Coney Barrett. We know Eileen Cannon's in the mix. Like I don't think he has a problem with women judges. I think he has a problem with seeing women as people, but that's a different. But again, he doesn't see judges as people.
Gotta be a 7. I'm not gonna appoint. I gotta be a 7. It's gotta be.
Right? Exactly, right? I can't appoint less than 8 is like how he'll think about it. But like, since he doesn't actually think judges are people either, he thinks they're functionaries in his regime. I don't think his sexism is going to be a problem in that way. I think his sexism is going to be a problem in terms of who he thinks looks the part for a judge. So Emma, you might have meant that question as a joke, but I'm telling you.
No, I'm not joking. I mean, we just opened the show with clips from, of Elizabeth Warren talking to the Kevin Warsh, the questioning him, the Fed chair nominee, and the central casting thing. That's what Trump said to him. He said, like, you're straight out of central casting, and that's why I'm picking you. So
he thinks it is such a state that we are in this country, where like that is legit a thing. He's the kind of guy who goes to a baseball game and signs a player based on his jawline as opposed to his on-base percentage. Like that is where we are in this country. So yeah, I think that matters. I actually think that that's a big knock against against Jim Ho, because he's a bit pudgy. Like, like James Ho, if he wants to be a Supreme Court justice, he needs to get that Wegovy, right? He needs to get on that Ozempic, really. And I hate to say that as a guy who's on the GLP-1, but like that's what you got to do to get this job with this man, with this crazy man in the White House. It is a sad state of affairs, but I don't think that I'm wrong to bring it up because I do think that that is part of the calculus here.
All right. Well, we went longer on this than I had anticipated, but honestly, it is the most important thing right now. I think, at least in terms of like what people can educate themselves and educate and tell their senators. This is important because this is coming down the pike. But just briefly, your reaction. There was a piece in the New York Times. There was a leak of memos around the 2016 decision that the Supreme Court faced in regards to the Clean Power Plant, essentially regulation that the EPA did right in the waning days of the Obama administration. And it went to the Supreme Court. They skipped essentially any other subsidiary court and looked for an emergency stay on this because presumably if the air gets too clean, people might like freak out or something. And the memos reveal the birth of both like the major questions doctrine, I guess, arguably, and the use of the shadow docket and the way they were justifying it. Just what's your broad stroke?
The 90-second take here is that what those leaks show is that the very birth of the shadow docket that we are now all living with starts because John Roberts had a political problem with a Barack Obama policy. If you look at those memos that Roberts leaked out, that have been leaked out from Roberts's pen, there's no law in there at all. It's all politics. It's all economics. What Roberts is arguing over is that it's going to cost his buddies billions of dollars if they let the Clean Power Plan go into effect even for a day. This is what John Roberts saying that legally they'll probably get rid of it in a couple of months. We know, in fact, that with Trump coming into office, that the Clean Power Plan would be dead on arrival anyway before it really took effect. But John Roberts was so worried about his rich buddies losing some money in the interim that he changed the entire way the Supreme Court operates. So what I want people to go back and read that story and take away from that is that you see how at the very crucible of all things, it was all political and was all economics. There was no law at all in that decision-making process.
And can I just bounce this off you and you tell me if I'm right or wrong quickly? This to me seems like, when Brandeis had his famous Brandeis brief and was arguing the outcome implications of law, that has been a 100-year project to say like that type of critical legal studies where you actually look at what the result of this law was when there's a question, when it's not sort of like very explicit, has been derided by the right for 100 years. And they just did it. Those memos show that Roberts was doing it, but 10 times worse because there's not even an argument about the validity of his assumption, what the outcome was going to be.
100%, they were doing the exact same thing, but you know what the difference between Roberts and Brandeis? Roberts was doing it for money.
And he was doing it in secret. Brandeis, put his argument in writing and gave it to the court. There was no argument here. It's just like, it's going to cost them money. Yeah. Why that's bad.
Can't let that happen. Can't risk all this money being taken away from my buddies was Roberts' fundamental legal argument in that case. And that's what I want people to take away from it. Like Roberts gets relatively speaking, such a clean ride in press. Roberts gets almost no heat in the press because everyone wants to pretend that he's this moderate, cares about the court's reputation. No, y'all, he cares about the bank. He cares about the dough, and you see it in the leaked memos.
And your guess as to who leaked those memos?
I think it's Kennedy. Usually the people who leak are the people who are not currently on the court. I think there's all this talk about the shadow docket. I think Anthony Kennedy outside looking in is like, I got some information on how the shadow docket really started. I think it's a Kennedy. I think it's unlikely to be Breyer, although some of the back and forth was to Breyer, so that's another possibility. But I think it's one of the guys who is alive but not on the court, much more likely than anybody who's on the court. The only thing I'll add is that we know Sam Alito was a big leaker and could always be Sam. Like I never want to put anything past Sam. But my guess is it's Kennedy or Breyer, just because they're on the outside.
Well, I want to talk to you about that in the future. But Elie Mystal, thank you so much for. I know we held you very long. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure to talk to you about this stuff. We will link to your piece that inspired this conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Sam. And sorry about the dog. Thanks a lot, Emma.
Oh, thanks so much. Don't worry.
All right, folks. We're going to head into the fun half, wherein we will have fun. And maybe take your phone calls and read your IMs. Just a reminder, it's your support that makes this show possible. You can become a member at jointhemajorityreport.com. When you do, you not only get the free show free of commercials, you also get the fun half. And you can IM us on the fun half. Help this show survive and thrive. Jointhemajorityreport.com. Jointhemajorityreport.com. Also, justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, hot chocolate. Use your coupon code majority. You get 10% off some of the best coffee you've ever tasted. One that's bought from a co-op that really protects its suppliers, its growers in Chiapas or in East Africa. Check them out, justcoffee.coop. Matt, what's happening in the Matt Leckian media universe?
Yeah, coming up right after the show today on Left Reckoning, got 2 interviews. One with Matt McManus talking about when the right gets honest about how they think you should kill people like Socrates because they're rabble-rousers. And also Kylie Chung talking about the pink pill pipeline and how the right is using celebrity news and gossip and lifestyle content to smuggle in anti-abortion and other types of right-wing ideas. That's coming up. I also talk about the Strokes and their protest, or at least not really protest, and their final song at Coachella, where they called out American empire. And I couldn't play it because apparently they're really copyright striking that stuff, which is disgusting because copyright is against the First Amendment. But nonetheless, patreon.com/Left Reckoning. Check out the show at 2:30 Eastern time.
Did you see that, Sam? Did you see what the Strokes did at Coachella? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Oh yeah, that's closer to my era. So I still haven't figured out what Coachella is, but I saw the videos of it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just think like Woodstock.
Oh right, of course. Yeah. No, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, folks. See you in the fun half. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 9 months from now. And I don't think it's going to be the same as it looks like in 6 months from now. And I don't know if it's necessarily going to be better 6 months from now than it is 3 months from now. But I think around 18 months out, we're going to look back and go like, wow. What? What is that going on? It's nuts. Wait a second. Hold on for a second.
The Majority Report.
Emma, welcome to the program.
Hey.
Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Nomi Key.
You did it. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Bradley, you want to say hello?
Sorry to disappoint everyone. I'm just a random guy.
It's all the boys today.
Fundamentally false.
No, I'm sorry. Women's
Stop talking for a second. Now let me finish.
Where is this coming from, dude?
But dude, you want to smoke this 7A?
Yes.
Hi, me? Is it?
Yes.
Is this me?
Is it me?
It is you.
Is this me? Hello, is this me?
I think it is you. Who is you? No sound. Every single freaking day. What's on your mind?
Sports. We can discuss free markets and we can discuss capitalism.
God.
I'm gonna go Starlight.
Libertarians.
They're so stupid, though.
Common sense says, of course.
Gobbledygook.
We fucking nailed him.
So what's 79 plus 21?
Challenge met.
I'm positively quivering. I believe 96, I want to say.
857-210-35. 501. 1/2. 3/8.
9/11, for instance.
$3,400, $1,900.
6, 5, 4, $3 trillion sold. It's a zero-sum game.
Actually, you're making me think less of it.
But let me say this. Poop.
You can call it satire. Sam goes, it's satire.
On top of it all,
Yeah.
my favorite part about you is just like every day, all day, like
Yeah.
everything you do.
Without a doubt. Hey, buddy, we see you. All right, folks.
It's just the weak being weeded out, obviously.
Yeah, sun's out, guns out. I don't know.
But you should know.
People just don't like to entertain ideas anymore.
I have a question. Who cares?
Our chat is enabled, folks.
I love it.
I do love that.
Look, gotta jump. Gotta be quick. I gotta jump.
I'm losing it, bro.
2 o'clock. We're already late, and the guy's being a dick. So screw him. Sent to a gulag?
Outrageous.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Love you, bye.
Love you. Bye-bye. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Seder, Emma Vigeland. It is the fun half. Plastic Oceans asked me on the IM, Sam, did you catch fish at the Sphere while you were in Vegas? I was actually thinking about it. I'm not necessarily a big fish fan, but I heard good things about the shows there.
That threw me off when you said catch fish. I didn't even know what you're talking
Yeah, I
about.
assume you're talking about fishing.
Oh, no. I started fly casting in the middle of the Bellagio Lake, and people were like, what are you doing? I went to the Sphere when it first opened, went out on one of those trips to see the generic Sphere movie. And I was so terrified by how steep it was. I basically said, not going to go back here. I am quite convinced there have been deaths there and they haven't said it. I mean, this is my opinion, of course, and I have no knowledge to this fact.
Yeah, I mean, good thing that James Dolan isn't notoriously litigious and psychotic.
Is that his?
No.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. I would imagine it would be very hard to imagine that there wouldn't be some type of serious events that would take place because it's so steep. And it's like a concert venue and they serve booze and they're wasted. I could only imagine, but
that's how I want to go.
So
man.
no, that's the answer is no. I did not go, but I did contemplate it. Hey, let's check in on the commander in chief as he calls into CNBC and just is bat crap crazy as normal. But the best is to watch his buddy, this guy who's been kissing his ass for at least a decade or two, Joe Kernan on CNBC. Watch him just sort of have to deal with how insane the president is that he helped unleash on this country.
Not dealing with the nicest group of people, but we're dealing with them very successfully, and the blockade has been a tremendous success. They said 2 days ago, we will open the strait. I said, no, we're not going to open the strait until we have a final deal. No, we want to open the strait. They said, we're not opening. We totally control the strait, just so you understand, for all the fake news out there.
And, Mr. President, we've seen 100 days of the largest protests in Iran since the revolution in 1979. And I know how much you respect and admire and are concerned with the Iranian people themselves. And this is,
I'm sorry. We double tapped a girls' school to show our deep concern for the plight of the Iranian people. Also, we are blockading the blockade. Iran controlling the Strait of Hormuz is their leverage point, but he knows that all of these negotiations are on their terms. So, the blockade of the blockade is just an insanely expensive, taxpayer-funded ass-covering project that has also not really resulted in many actual interdictions of these boats. I was reading this morning that it really has been The one that they boarded or that they shot through, which was a cargo ship, not an oil tanker that was heading to China. And then they boarded 2 ships. But there have been dozens that Iran has been able to successfully, to get through. So it's amazing because he's constantly undercutting his own negotiators and the own negotiation process, which the U.S. needs more than Iran needs, because he's obsessed with the optics of victory.
With the Iranian people themselves. And this is, I think, in large degree, one of the reasons you decided to embark on this whole thing. Maybe
okay,
among
whatever
other
you
things,
say.
but the timing was right. If we get close in negotiations right now, but the deadline for the ceasefire is tomorrow, if it looks like things are progressing, will you not necessarily extend it to a definitive amount of time, but will you let it keep going if there's progress in the talks before taking...
well, I don't want to do that. We don't have that much time because by the time both parties get there, as you know, they just got the okay to go forward, which I knew they were going to do anyway. I mean, I don't think they had a choice. They have to negotiate.
Pause. I'm sorry. So the Western press has not been forthright about this. Iran only just agreed to the negotiations. And why would the desperate party be the one that is like saying we may or may not engage in negotiations? It's ridiculous. And they're also saying that like they are coming to the table when the ceasefire is continuously being violated, whether it be with these the Trump going after these ships, but also Israel is continuing to ethnically cleanse Lebanon, which was a part of their terms. So they are coming to the table because they want these reparations and they want sanctions relief. But it's just amazing how, anyway, he's lying. He says, I always knew they were going to do that. Really? Because if you bomb them, they're essentially saying they're cutting off all diplomatic negotiations and they're just going to resume the war, which has been going in their
This is supposed to
favor.
This is supposed to be the commercial news business press, and there's just no ability by Joe Kernan to impose facts onto this guy.
I mean, the fact is that what Kernan is doing is not just carrying water for Trump. I mean, they're all just scrambling around to how to maintain the markets, keep the markets from sinking, and that's it. And it's almost like a day-to-day, week-to-week project, and that's basically it. Is there more?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I don't think they had a choice. They have to negotiate. And,
Wake up, Grandpa.
The one thing I'll say is this: Iran can get themselves on a very good footing if they make a deal. They can make themselves into a strong nation again, a wonderful nation again. They have incredible people.
Okay.
But they seem to be,
Wow.
Do we have that clip where Kernan talks about inflation? I don't think we do. No.
There's another part where Trump makes another grandiose, laughable claim in that interview, if you want to get to that. 5.
It's gonna be tight.
And when it's over, and it will end, when it's over, they want it to be over immediately. And I just looked at a little chart. World War I, 4 years and 3 months. World War II, 6 years. Korean War, 3 years. Vietnam, 19 years. Iraq, 8 years. I'm 5 months, okay? 5 months. I would have won Vietnam very quickly. I would have, if I were president, I would have won Iraq in the same amount of time that we won, because essentially we've won here, okay? I mean, people...
Wait, that we won Iraq? I'm old enough to remember 2015, or actually 2016, the Republican primary debates, when he said to Jeb Bush's face, the Iraq war was a big fat mistake. But now it's apparently something we won?
It's also apparently a war in Iran, which he keeps admitting with his obsession with the length. I'm shocked that this man is obsessed with length.
They got 2 weeks to turn in their homework. I should get at least another week.
I mean, you know what got in the way of Trump winning Vietnam? He could have single-handedly did it, but he was disabled from his bone spurs.
He was, partying in NYC.
If only he didn't have such bad bone spurs, he could have ended Vietnam as our super soldier.
I would have wrapped it up. Very quickly.
I'd have never got captured.
Except for those damn spurs.
All right, we don't need to find that inflation one, but the long and gist of it is that Kernan says, when you entered office, inflation was at 3%. No, it was at 5%. And it went down after I got elected. Before I got into office, it went down because everybody knew I was coming. Like, it's just insane.
Oh, and later also in the interview, he kind of confirms the reporting from the Wall Street Journal about the UAE threatening to trade in Chinese yuan. And Matt has the inflation thing if you want to play it, Sam.
Oh, yeah, let's play this. I mean, to watch Kernan just sort of like, I don't want to. Yeah, because he has to sort of maintain some credibility for his audience, but he also has to. He's like, this is like it's almost like a kid of a divorced parents.
Yeah, you can
on one
hear him
side, I got
thinking.
Trump. On the other side, I've got my audience who thinks that I'm a legitimate journalist.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just want to return for 1 second and make an analogy here. You saw what inflation did to the Biden legacy and administration. So 22% price increases. By the time he was leaving, it was down to about where it is now, about 3%. But not
No,
a single.
It was down to 5%. It wasn't down.
Well,
to
or 3, but not a
And
single
the reason
person.
it was down was because I had won the election, and it started falling after I won the election, and I started getting prices down from right after November 5th.
I mean, how embarrassing for that dude.
The only inflation that went down on him is in his ankles.
But just think about this. I mean, just think about this. Like you're sitting there. This guy is telling you that inflation was almost like 70% higher in a certain month than it was. And you are a anchor at a financial news network, ostensibly. Like how much less accuracy, how much like
yeah,
you don't push back on that. It's like, what is the value of what you're doing other than just fluffing everything? I mean, it's so embarrassing.
It's the ultimate access journalism because Trump is so petty and pathetic that if you like step out of line for 1 second, he's not calling in, and that's what Kernan values, is that access. But it's just amazing to me that you can get up in the morning and not be able to look at yourself.
I mean, honestly, there's no equivalent here. Like somebody could call and go like, delicious apples are the best apples. And that's the one that everybody loves. And I just go, okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. It's embarrassing. So embarrassing for that guy on top of like the hat that he seems to be wearing on his head.
That Daniel Boone hat he's wearing.
Exactly. I want to make it look like I'm not dyeing my hair, but I want to maintain some credibility, but I also don't want to have gray hair. I know.
Yeah.
To each their own. Hey, this is both a disturbing, reality, but also one which this person made come true. Here is a video of Caitlyn Jenner. With Tommy Lauren. And Caitlyn Jenner is like somehow didn't understand that the Republican Party and its president were hostile to trans folks. And
I think she realized it. I think she's more in favor of tax breaks. Like, isn't this kind of, this says everything about what actual like rich people's priorities are on this kind of thing, right?
I mean, I guess, she seems a little bit upset by this. Let's go.
Recently, I had my passport. I had to get it renewed. I sent it back. Comes back gender marker M. Screws everything up.
Mm.
So there's a form in there. If they made a mistake, you can correct it. So I fill out all the proper forms. I'm not calling anybody. I'm not calling the president. I got his personal cell number. I'm not calling anybody. I'm going to see if I can fix this myself. Because it's not just about me. It's about all people in this situation. So I even sent a hard copy of my birth certificate. Caitlyn Marie Jenner, gender, sex, female. I did everything. And they sent it back M. They didn't change it at all. So now I'm in a position Tommy, that what do?
Right.
This is a safety factor, okay? I can't travel internationally anymore, okay? I can't use my passport. I can use global entry, it says F. I can do this. I can travel in the United States, license, driver's license, pilot's license, everything, gender marker F. So it really creates a big problem. And I'm trying to figure out at this point what to do. I don't blame President Trump. I love him. But
Pause it for a second.
lot of people, this is a huge...
Just a note, and we can let her finish that. But one of the things Trump brought up to the DoorDash grandmother during that publicity stunt was they don't want to let they wanted to let girls play boys or boys play girls sports. We're not going to do that anymore, right? You care about that, right? And she's like, can we stick to the burgers?
I'm here to talk about the overtime taxes. That's it. Like even the grandmother. But the idea that Caitlyn Jenner does not blame the president. Really? Who do you blame? Like who?
It must have been a mistake. Because even though this is broad policy, and I know trans people that have had this happen to them, this is the administration doing this actively. It must have been a mistake because I am exceptional. I am one of the trans people that doesn't have to worry about other people in my community because I have access to Trump. I have his personal phone number. I can give him a call and ask for whatever I want. So I didn't think this was going to happen to me. I didn't think I was a part of a collective or a community and I had to have solidarity with others. I still remember when she came out as trans and she went on Ellen's show and they had a debate about gay marriage. She didn't even think gay marriage should be legal at that time. Like the level of psychosis that this person has, who, by the way, killed someone with her car, and we don't talk about it at all, is crazy to me. But like this is it's the I didn't think the leopards would eat my face meme on steroids.
I don't blame President Trump. I love him. But for a lot of people, this is a huge issue,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, Tony?
And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I have not talked to the president. I was in Mar-a-Lago 2 months ago, wrote a letter explaining all of this to him, how it's affecting me and a lot of other people. And unfortunately, he wasn't there that weekend. Actually, the Secret Service guy said he could get it to him, put it on his desk and stuff. I haven't heard from him. He's kind of busy right now.
Yeah, he's busy signing off on policies that deprive you and other trans people of the ability to travel. I mean, this is just like, first off, and then you see Tommy, who is like, I can't really speak to this because
where does she stand on any of that?
Because if I mention, if I actually say, if I acknowledge anything beyond that you've just said this to me, then I'm going to have to justify myself to my audience, and I'm not going down that road. Meanwhile, the utter delusion. Well, I don't blame President Trump. I did send him a letter, and the Secret Service did say they could do, but I didn't hear anything because he's too busy to respond. He wasn't too busy to promulgate that new regulation. I mean, like the bootlicking associated with this, right? Like to watch like this level of an authoritarian mind just subject herself and watch her rights stripped away, claim that she's also concerned about other people's rights being stripped away, and still not able to sort of connect that, that hand that has just like slapped her across the face. She can't see what arm it's connected to. It's just, it is insane.
Yeah. I will also just note, historically, that is the one thing that comes to mind for Hillary Clinton's State Department is she changed it so trans people could be identified properly on their documents.
Well, today's Democratic Party would say that we shouldn't prioritize
Don't
that.
go too far to the left, yeah.
Because
so many people were upset with the gender identification with other people's passports.
Right.
It made it so much more complicated to get it back into the country.
Did you hear what this male podcaster said?
Sweetheart, I'm in line, but I can't tell if I'm in line behind a man or a woman, so you'll never find me in line. Do you have our bags? Just insane. This is nuts. This Florida student, should we play this clip?
Oh, yeah, this is crazy.
What number is this?
11.
Number 11. This is from Channel 7 News, Miami. It's about this student, and listen to this clip.
It's unfortunate because I'm assuming she's a senior and going to graduate soon, and now this is going to jeopardize her ability to graduate.
A 23-year-old FIU student charged with a felony over messages she wrote in a school group chat. Gabriela Saldana facing a judge Thursday morning. According to her arrest report, this went down in a WhatsApp group chat of about 215 students, where students were discussing an event that was to take place Friday at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center on campus to make their capstone presentations. An FIU police officer read some of the statements in court.
The exact words utilized was, "There's going to be a bomb in the Ocean Bank Convocation Center, and it's going to be at Jonathan's fault," one of the members in the chat.
7 News obtaining some bits of that chat. It seemed the student wanted the event rescheduled and wrote, quote, "Netanyahu, if you can hear me, drop some bonbons for us capstone students in Ocean Bank Convention Center." Other students wrote they didn't take that text lightly. She later in the chat wrote, quote, "I wrote a dumb joke that should not have been made."
I can understand your position, Ms. Corey, and you're saying this is a joke, but to an objective person, it's not a joke, and there would be enough for probable cause. I'm not saying it's enough for beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know what the state's going to be able to prove at trial, but for purposes of this hearing, I believe there is enough for probable cause.
Yuck.
15
that
years.
judge, what is her background? I'm curious if, she has other pro-Zionist statements or something like that prior to this, because that's insane. Like, people make jokes all the time, like, drop a bomb on this school or whatever, so I don't have to do this. Would that, like, if she had said that
in the context of Netanyahu, it's clear. It's not like I'm going to do this. It's in the context of the genocide our country's doing, and these courts are protecting or stopping students from opposing. So now it's seeping out in jokes. Everyone knows that a joke. Probable cause? Get out of here. What a joke.
Also, when did this government have a problem with blowing up a school?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. But if you had made a joke and said that it was a Muslim terror group or something like that, oh, I hope ISIS comes for them. You think that this would have happened? You think she would have been hauled in front of this judge and the judge would say, I couldn't tell that this was a joke?
No way. Meanwhile, in Germany, it's actually apparently worse. This is an exchange caught between a cop and an activist in Berlin. Now, Germany obviously has very different speech laws than we do. They don't have a First Amendment. They have had a history of some bad ideologies taking over that have led to some very bad things happening, both in Germany and into neighboring countries, I think. But this is pretty shocking. And you can see the sort of the cop also it's my job, but I'm going to have to arrest you. And you'll see what he's going to have to arrest.
Interesting logic for a German cop.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just following orders. I mean, ooh, did I say that? Go ahead.
1 second.
Why?
Say the river sentence, please.
I didn't
Don't say it.
I just say from the river, but not from the river please.
You said that 2 times. Please stop it. Otherwise, we have to arrest you again.
Okay.
Yeah? Please stop it.
So what shall I say?
Not this sentence.
To the beach.
No, don't say that. It's forbidden. The sentence is forbidden. Don't say it
And we
again.
get arrested.
Yeah, I don't want to do it, but it's forbidden in Germany, and I have to arrest you.
She's asked at one point, can I say from the river to the beach? Can I say that?
No,
He's like,
don't
no.
say that. It's verboten.
Yeah, this sentence is forbidden. It sounds like just copy pasted from 1984.
It's insane.
It
It's
might be
insane.
too unsubtle for that. Yeah, it's insane.
Similar thing happens with the arresting elderly people for saying "I stand with Palestine" action in the UK. Ludicrous. I mean, it's unsustainable too.
I mean, Germany. How much Palestinian blood has to be spilled for you to be able to have effectively outsourced your guilt for the Holocaust, you nut jobs?
It's a real shame that this is all this sort of guilt that and what should be a guard against nationalism for that entire country is being sublimated into supporting Israel. Like it's bizarre.
It's very disappointing because they did the best work maybe of any country after World War II. They really tried.
Well, they have these
education, and they I guess just
Holocaust denialism is illegal there. That was what the AfD was running into with their their foray into Holocaust denial. But you see how those laws are also now being distorted to conflate Judaism with Zionism to support the state of Israel.
Yep. All right, let's
Is my camera doing this? I mean, it's been nonstop. Can I just take a break for a second and re-enter? Driving me nuts.
looks fine to me. Why don't I read some IMs? Also, you do the phones too. We'll get those fired up. Let's see. Somebody, if we count the Russian Empire, the Prussian Empire, Germany started 3 world wars. They're almost all traumatized and autistic now, says somebody. Vegan Van Dude, she asked Netanyahu to drop bombs, and the judge thinks a rational person would think she's communicating with the leader of Israel. It's absurd. Special Edward, the story from Florida is outrageous. There is truly no justice in our country, and our young people are not educated sufficiently so they can challenge these injustices. Elon, bring back comedy, says Carly Chirk. Roy in Minnesota, Tommy doesn't like Caitlyn because she's trans, but Caitlyn doesn't see that, I guess.
That's because Tommy's face has been made expressionless.
A lot of gender affirming care on both sides of that.
Good thing she had her eyebrows sealed shut, so she can't scowl at Caitlyn.
Dizzle McFizzle, oh sweet, I can finally puff some Sebade while I get Michigan fisted, if you know what I'm saying, all right? Marks Delano Roosevelt, hi crew, it's my birthday today and I got laid off last week. I could really use a shofar. You got it.
That reminds me. One of my favorite quotes ever from Maria Bamford says, she's never been fired from anything and felt anything other than a massive amount of relief.
Tennessee, so glad to see Hegseth focusing on the important things like getting rid of vaccine mandates for service members. I mean, let's play that. We have that clip. I got to think, there was the flu that goes around today is actually from the 1917, from the 19-teens. I don't know when it was started, 1916, but it is Spanish producer. Oh,
Sorry, Sam. I didn't mean to throw you off.
oh, you know what? Maybe that is today. Maybe I got confused and he was going to come on today. I got that email late. Brian, will you send him that link?
Oh, that's what. Okay. Yep.
The Spanish flu, which originated, of course, in America.
Sorry. Well,
Spanish flu, which actually originated in Kansas, but it was a real problem during World War II. World War I, because you have soldiers in such close proximity with each other that when they got the flu, it was difficult for them. And so here is Pete Hegseth saying, let's go back to the good old days, like pre-vaccines.
Under the disastrous Biden administration, this Pentagon waged an unrelenting war on our warriors on many fronts, including when it came to denying them simple medical autonomy and the freedom to express their religious convictions. In other words, our men and women in uniform were forced to choose between their conscience and their country, even when those decisions posed no threat to our military readiness. You know what I'm talking about, what happened, COVID-19 and the vaccine. No more. That era of betrayal is over. Under President Trump, the War Department continues to take decisive action to once again restore freedom and strength to our joint force. We're seizing this moment to discard any absurd, overreaching mandates that only weaken our warfighting capabilities. In this case, this includes the universal flu vaccine and the mandate behind it. The notion that a flu vaccine must be mandatory for every service member everywhere in every circumstance at all times is just overly broad and not rational. Our new policy is simple.
Actually, no, it's completely rational. It is completely rational. But go ahead. Keep playing.
An American warrior entrusted to defend this nation believed that the flu vaccine is in your best interest, then you are free to take it. You should. But we will not force you because your body, your faith, and your convictions are not negotiable. Your health. It's common sense. It's the kind of common sense approach we're undertaking in this department. Rest assured that under President Trump, the War Department will always honor our brave warriors and do everything we can to restore the American people's trust in their military for generations to come.
Yeah.
Very
how in the world are you less ready because you've been vaccinated against the flu?
Because the war fighters, they get a little flu.
The
symptoms.
ouchie! I got an ouchie on my arm and I can't.
I'm stealing this from a comment I saw, and I wish I could give credit, but somebody said you can't win an actual war, so you win the cultural wars.
Basically.
George Washington mandated smallpox for Continental soldiers in 1777.
Oh, George Wokington, you mean?
George Wokington, yeah.
Wow. Well, must be how they transmit the woke mind virus. It's embedded in the flu vaccine.
Brian, how much, when you were in the military, how much did you guys sit around and talk about how oppressed you were because of the flu vaccine?
The anthrax vaccine did get a lot of complaints. I'm not going to lie. I would often remind them that it seems like it's as bad as it was. It does seem better than anthrax. Personally.
And we never really got to the bottom of that anyway, so.
All right, what's that? Oh, we have a caller.
Yeah.
What?
Do you want to take a quick break?
We gotta take a quick break. We have
or we can try to do it live, but there'll be a little awkward period, so we should probably take a break.
All right, let's take a quick break and see what the problem is. We are back. Sam Seder, Emma Vigland. We have somebody who called in. I don't totally recognize him, but it's.
You son of a bitch! You left me high and dry. I got the email, Sam. I told you that I would call in, be an exclusive get for you, and you blew it. You blew me off like I'm some kind of dirt.
We had a little communication. Now it's Tim, did you shave your head for this new character you're
Hell
playing?
no. I'm going through some treatments.
Some treatments.
Can I drop the bit, or should I keep going?
Sure, I'll do my. We could do dueling Alex Joneses if you want. That's like one of the
I'd
few
love to.
impressions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few of us out there doing it. But
right,
we're getting a weird audio thing, Tim. I'm just gonna send you. You're getting a weird headphone thing. I think. Let me.
That's Vic doing soundboard or something. That's what I think it is.
Wait, what? For real?
Maybe.
What do you mean?
Put
We're
the
getting a
other
weird
AirPod
weird-
in.
I got my AirPods in.
Wait, that's better.
I got AirPods in.
Boom.
I think
That's better.
I mean, it's the gum chewing. It's the constant gum
No, it's
chewing.
not.
Do you intend to do this on your Okay, so we should say there's some news. You have some news that you've now taken over some type of like travel site.
Yeah,
I watched part of like a video that you put out, and you said you were starting a travel site.
I might be starting a travel site. We're looking at all the options. We basically inherited InfoWars, which was a political news site. I don't know if you're familiar with it. They cover the news.
Okay,
Is that
we
Vic
gotta
doing
we gotta
soundboard?
fix this audio thing. I think we've got to.
We're getting.
I'm sorry.
I hear you guys fine. What am I doing wrong?
Your audio goes low pitched every like 5 seconds, so I might send you a prompt here. Maybe we can come in through the iPhone microphone.
All right. I've never used this ping system. It's a big mess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is
we
a bit of a
know.
mess. But yeah, we're working on it.
Don't put this on me. I'm doing everything
not on
right. I'm a
you.
perfect person.
Do you
What
see
do you
a
want me to
prompt?
do?
Do you see a prompt there, Tim?
Hold on.
It's a soundboard thing. He's got his fart machine back
No,
there,
it's
and
not.
it's just.
Actually,
Okay,
so-
does that make a difference?
Thank
Oh, yeah,
God.
that's
Yes.
good.
I think
It
that's
was the
better,
glass.
yeah.
All right.
It's all in the glass.
Okay, it's all connected. All 5 senses are connected. Does that really fix it?
Yeah, it really
Yes.
seems to have.
All right,
Okay,
we're good.
well,
Let's start over.
yeah. Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me on the show, Sam. Emma.
So wait a second. So you inherited. So just back up for a minute. Like I knew that the Onion had gotten had gone in and did some type of like auction or application. Was
Yeah.
all this all an application process? Did you apply for this job?
No, they reached out to me for my 2 cents about if they caught the car, that what should they do with it? And we just kept talking about it. And I thought that the joke of if the Onion took over InfoWars, it would be funny for about 3 months, and then it would just be over, So we said, well, then what happens after?
They did InfoWars, like they actually
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, it did like a Colbert Report style spoof of it. There's just only so much runway you got with that kind of humor. And so I said, well, let's just turn it into
I've
like
seen that with your own show. I mean, I feel like that you've learned that from doing your.
Yeah, I don't want to make that same mistake twice or
Right, no,
three
no,
times or
that
4
was very
times.
smart.
Yeah. So I know we're just gonna like turn into one of these comedy streaming sites that keep failing, but we keep trying to provide a space for funny people to make stuff and give them money, which feels like a really funny overall joke at the end of the day. If like InfoWars is the premier source for trans comedy. Trans people making comedy, not making fun of trans people. That's the Dave Chappelle network.
Yeah.
Let's. I mean, this is all well and good, but I feel like on some level we should have some balance in this. I mean, you're coming on here all happy
Bald.
and bald. You've shaved your head in support. I mean, was that part of this message, or is that just like you're going for a new look?
If you're familiar with a program I do called On Cinema, which your audience is, but you're too old to spend time watching comedy anymore.
I mean, I've heard people mention it. It's a relatively new program, isn't it?
Not quite, but my character on the show lost all his hair and has been wearing a wig for about a year. And so for our Oscar special, the wig was ripped off, and I wanted my bald head to be on TV instead of a bald cap. So I shaved my head, but it timed out perfectly because now I look like that guy.
Well, let's let that guy have his say in this too. Matt, can you cue this up for us? Because it's only fair. He has already responded to this utter
he's all over it.
Here he is. I mean, so what is the state of InfoWars right now? Does he still have access to it all?
I don't really know. I am not the law about I'm not the guy to ask. I think there's a judge that's going to weigh in on this in the next couple of days, and they seem to be on our side of the issue. So there's one final little hurdle, but yeah, you can let's listen to the gentleman from Texas set it up here if you want.
Tubular body.
We're fair and balanced. Let's hear from him and let Tim respond.
And a tubular body. I can't unsee this.
You can't take something over and then act like you're somebody, even if you say it's a parody. You can do a parody of somebody, but none of you took something from them.
Right.
We've already checked with lawyers, so they're in deep shit. I'm already suing the Democrat Party law firms. Already got civil rights lawsuits. Look, just because you're wearing my shirt, don't mean you're me. So let's be 100% clear about that. And so you guys just keep laughing, just like you did a year and a half ago, or it was November 2024.
Mm-hmm.
So is that about a year and a half?
Yeah, this is a story from December 10th.
Do we know who it is he's talking to? Why is he like sort of like embodying all of the people who have oppressed him in this guy who's sitting there next to him? Isn't that like an employee?
This is how I would be if I was that guy. I'd be like, I'd be like, geez.
Yeah. Hazard pay.
Yeah.
Let's keep going. Let's have him say. I mean, I just like when we come back, Tim better have disrobed, or it's not really a fair fight.
Can I just say something? I taped an interview with the CNN, which I know you guys are always on CNN, but I did a little taping here with Oscar Jimenez. Is that who it is? The dark bearded man, and I did it shirtless.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I full Alex Jones rage mode with him the whole time. And I hope they put it up. It seemed like it was pretty funny. So, I just love wearing his skin. I love wearing the man's skin. What can I say? I'm like Leatherface.
You're wearing a full bodysuit.
What I do is I cut up the backbone with my fillet knife and peel the skin back. And slip in.
Go let's listen to Alex Jones a little bit more. He seems upset.
Yeah, this is a story from December 10th. Sale of Alex Jones Infowars to The Onion rejected, and I'll get into this. And
So but yeah, they need to be us to confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. He goes, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead.
They seem to have lit only his nipples. You can't see his face. You can only see his chest. It's interesting.
Did he wander in like on a live broadcast without his shirt on?
I was taking a shower and I just heard the news and I came out.
I shower with my jeans on.
Oh, that's right. It's like a Bobby Kennedy thing. Yeah, that's what
right. I see. Right. He's swimming with Kid Rock.
To confuse people. By the way, it's a total failure. He goes, we're the 5th biggest newspapers. That's a lie. Newspapers are all dead. Okay.
I looked it up. The Onion gets less than half of the traffic that InfoWars gets.
Okay.
Remember, they said they were going to be.
So what?
That was yesterday. Not tomorrow.
Yeah. So what? I can't. I love the time they're killing. They're just killing time. What a fun. If you guys just produce something of absolute no substance every day and just ranted about your breakfast every day, it would be similar to this InfoWars show. Who's watching this? Do you think he's got an audience anymore? Or is everyone just kind of like us watching?
I think it's exceedingly less. I mean, this is the value of a show like his. It's always been people sort of who didn't necessarily buy into what he was saying that was watching. I think it was always like, it's the spectacle. Even since, like, even from when he was just on radio, that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was the
Oh,
spectacle.
he's a terrific entertainer, you know, like anybody that can just go and go and go like that is very entertaining, especially when he's like S-faced on other people's shows. That stuff with him and Tim Pool, that's gold.
We saw that. That was amazing. That was incredibly impressive. So, but what are you going to do? Are you going to like send like a coupon code to his InfoWar users? Are you going to?
We would love to maintain. We'd love to maintain their audience and just welcome them aboard. And well, I mean, the main driver here. I'll just be a pitch man for the Onion. By the way, like the Onion, I don't know. I mean, I grew up pretty much with the Onion. It's like one of the most legendary comedy institutions of all time. And I'm just like, I'm here at their offices. Actually, that's where I am in Chicago.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm like working for the Onion now, Sam. Like, I don't know. It's kind of neat.
What do they have you doing? Like office stuff or?
Well, it's funny. I don't know. Have you ever? When was the last time you had like a job where you're like in an office with like meetings and stuff? I mean, I guess you have meetings.
20 years ago, I would say.
Yeah.
Air America, maybe. I mean, we have meetings in our office. We have like company-wide meetings and got to meet with HR and all that stuff here.
Yeah. It's like that. I mean, it's like a big concern. You know, it's a big operation here, and I'm just trying to be the Rick Rubin of the situation. Who's floating in. I have an idea for a weird movie. You know.
Are you planning on selling any like health tonics or any kind of like testosterone boosting products?
Well, we've got capsulized oxygen that we're going to be selling. Pure O. I don't know. We actually do have a bunch of those ideas in the pipeline that we're going to be rolling out. So like I said, first 3 months, I think we're going to like get all of this out of our system, all the jokes that we all love to make about this guy and his world. And then, start giving money to people we think are funny. And I don't know, see what happens, Sam. It's the whole thing's ridiculous, isn't it? And who knows? But you should subscribe to the Onion. That's what I wanted to say, because that's what they really want everybody to do, to support this, because the money will start going to the Sandy Hook families. And this is what it's all about, really, not to be too sentimental here, but this is like justice for those families who are still trying to get $1 from this guy after all these years. And this is a road to getting that. This is the way it seems to be going.
Were they? I mean, I don't know if you would know this, but are the families happy that it's like a comedy response?
They hate it. They're very upset about the whole thing, and we're gonna be fighting them in court next. No, I'm kidding. According to, I haven't talked to them directly, but Ben Collins, the CEO here, is like in constant contact with them, and they're thrilled. They're apparently very, very thrilled about the whole thing. At least until we start making stuff that stinks, and then they get very upset about it. But
they had heard that you were gonna get this job. I mean, I'm just double checking.
There was a little deflation there from their perspective, I think. And I do want to say, talking to Ben and some of the leadership here, that we're coming for you guys next. Majority Report is next on the acquisitions on the acquisitions table. We're coming for you.
Can I retain my position, please?
Yeah, for sure, you, Emma, and then other people we're gonna be rethinking.
We're going to do it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
I mean,
come in and see me.
I really want to know, like, how much time Alex Jones has with this, because he's going to just get more and more insane
I know.
over the next couple of days as an attempt to, like, I would imagine, like, is he going to set up? Can he? I mean, maybe this you wouldn't know this, but I wonder if he can set up another entity. It doesn't seem like he can.
I don't. With what money? I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Like, at some point, Like, yeah, at some point, don't you just literally run out of like credit and stuff? Like, don't you just literally dry up? But the real heartbreaker for him is going to be when he finds out next week we're working with Roger Stone, and Roger Stone is going to be a big part of the future of InfoWars.
Oh, why did he have a fallout with Roger
No,
Stone?
I don't know. He always used to have Roger Stone on. I think they're best buddies, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that Roger Stone is still alive, isn't it? Like there's some of these guys that you just seem to go on forever.
Yeah, there's
Roger
many
Stone.
more orgies for him to attend in Florida, so there's always the next orgy to live for.
Keeps you young, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know, Sam, Emma. It's quite a journey, and I wish you hope us the best in the whole endeavor.
We're working. We need to have a couple meetings about it first before we issue an official endorsement, or just it could cut a bunch of different ways. But what about your existing show? It's
Office Hours Live. Is what you're grasping for.
Office Hours, is that, are you going to still do it?
Yeah. I have to. I've got mouths to feed on that show. Vic Berger is not in the best shape.
Right.
We need to keep him going, and give him something to wake up for every morning. And
so you feel obligated to Vic?
Yeah, sort of like the way Jerry Garcia felt about the Grateful Dead towards the end there. Just like I got all these people working for me, and I got to just keep the train going to keep everybody working. But my heart's not in it, of course, as yours isn't.
I mean, I think people can see that, and I think but I do think people admire you for continuing on. For the sake of the people.
It's a legacy.
Big of you.
It's a legacy project at this point. It's just it's all fan service.
Yeah, no, of course.
Just going through the motions.
That's great. That is great.
We're not live, are we?
We don't even if we were, it really wouldn't make that much of a difference. We don't have nearly the audience that you.
All right. Well, I got to go into this big corporate meeting where they talk. We're going to go through like an actual PowerPoint presentation and slides, and it's a real thing.
Thanks for giving us the big exclusive. Oh,
yeah.
That's right. This was a breaking news story that we broke here.
No, not really, but sort of.
I mean,
a little bit.
Thanks for giving us the exclusive.
We sort of broke it. Was this
I
the
love you
first time
guys.
you had seen it?
He's trying to hang up,
Jones
Sam. He's trying to hang up.
Fine,
I just said I love you guys, and I do mean it.
I love you too.
Very happy
Bye.
that they got you. All right.
Bye.
Whatever. It's not.
Just getting it out, just talking over him. I gotta go.
I don't. It's
You don't care.
And I honestly I'm glad he was chosen to do this, but I don't have much respect for him. I mean, I really don't. I don't. He's I appreciate what he's doing for Vic Berger. Let's put it that way. But I mean, outside of that,
working in newspapers in
this whole
2026.
Let's go to the phones. Calling from a 616 area code. A couple of people snuck in when I thought that we had a caller. Calling from a 616. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Nathan from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Nathan from Grand Rapids, Michigan. What's on your mind, Nathan?
Well, first of all, what an honor to be right after Tim Heidecker. I've been a fan of his ever since Come Ghost in the Mirror.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for the call.
I just wanted to kind of talk about the Michigan Senate race for a little bit.
Sure.
I actually was at the MSU rally with Abdul and Hassan Piker, and I decided to volunteer for Abdul's campaign.
Whoa!
First time I volunteered for a campaign going on 40 years
Wow.
of age. So
Is that despite the fact that
really
Hassan Piker was there?
What's that?
Was it despite the fact that Hassan Piker was there?
Oh yeah, the raging anti-Semitism from him just wasn't enough to turn me off of Abdul. But yeah, actually, I've been kind of a follower of Hassan, as well for a few years. But yeah, just the energy of the campaign and just like the fact that it's sorely needed right now just inspired me to volunteer. I also wanted to bring up, I'm sure you guys covered the Michigan Democratic Convention yesterday, but I don't know if you mentioned that some of the other races, they made their nominations at the convention, and it was pretty much a progressive sweep there. The AG race was between this guy, Jordan Acker, I think his name is. And then he's one of those guys that is just, I think he was a U of M board of regents or something like that, where he was against the student protesters and everything.
Right.
And there was a trial attorney that ran against him that was actually somebody who represented those students, and he won
Oh, that's great.
the nomination. So, and then there was also the Lieutenant Governor, Garland Gilchrist, was the kind of progressive pick for Secretary of State, and he also clinched the nomination there as well.
Great. Oh, that's good to hear. I think I feel like I interviewed Garland Gilchrist years ago, but that's good stuff. Appreciate the call, and thanks for doing the work out there.
Yep, looking forward to putting my Michigan fists to work.
Awesome.
There you go. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Oh, that's never going to go away.
I want the Michigan fist.
Do the other one.
Wait,
I want that Michigan fist.
should we do 12 and 17, or I mean, do people care what Sean Hannity says anymore? But
it is funny to see a guy lose his religion for politics.
I do appreciate this on some level, because what's interesting too is that, like, J.D. Vance is a Catholic convert. He wasn't, and he has basically
2019
tried to excommunicate. That's what it takes 7 years for you to be a Catholic, and when you get the power to excommunicate the Pope, I guess. But here's Sean Hannity. You remember how it impacted New York when Sean Hannity promised to leave New York for Florida? Well, here's Sean Hannity on Catholicism.
Now, I do want to shift gears with a message to the Vatican tonight, specifically to Pope Leo, who has openly condemned America's war in Iran while seemingly enjoying a public fight with President Trump. First, let me give some context.
Can you just, I'm sorry, we
like-
should open up our show with, like, this is our personal message to the Pope, or to this religious leader, or to this president. Like, the arrogance of it is amazing to me, on top of the absurdity of what he's about to say.
I mean, to be fair, it's not like Donald Trump isn't watching. Trump is probably watching at that point. But what I also found shocking is the Pope condemned our war. like what? Like, the Pope did not endorse war. That leads tonight. Go ahead.
Week on crime.
Just insane.
Let me give some context.
Week on war.
Like millions of Americans, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I even attended a seminary in high school, studied theology, Latin, went to Mass daily. But as of today, I no longer consider myself a Catholic. Where are the pointed words for Iran, this evil regime, the #1 state sponsor of terror, the people that murdered 45,000 innocent protesters? Not a peep from Pope Leo. Iran is now set to, literally have 4 more protesters and hang them and kill them, including a woman. Nothing from Pope Leo. Iran oppresses women. Nothing from Pope Leo. Tortures them, rapes them, kills them. Nothing from the Pope. Iran backs terrorists in Iraq and Beirut who have killed
Pause it for 1 second. It
Americans
just
for
occurs to me,
decades.
I got to say, I mean, it's not like Catholicism has been great for women.
Right.
Just saying.
It's been worse for boys.
They're a little more focused on little boys, perhaps. So that's where Sean Hannity's like, I have the hierarchy of morality here.
For 50 years, I watched diocese after diocese after diocese get investigated for child molestation. But that was fine. But once they don't endorse the war in Iran, I'm out.
And it's just like he's taking Trump's multiplication of the protester death figure, like at face value? Because we've now said he just adds zeros. So the figure that the U.S. had been using was like 4,500. Now it's 45,000, and Sean Hannity's just saying that on television with no repercussions. And we also know now that Mossad was involved in an operation to stoke some of these protests as well. So just throwing that out there.
In Iraq and Beirut, who have killed Americans for decades. Nothing from Pope Leo. Iran drops bombs on holy sites and neighborhoods all over Israel, densely populated areas like Tel Aviv, and Pope Leo is not bothered to call them out.
Wait, why did they send rockets to Israel? Was because we bombed Tehran. Okay.
By name. And while the Pope condemns all nuclear weapons, especially on the anniversary of Hiroshima, I don't think we had a choice. Same with Nagasaki. It did end a war, did save a lot of American lives.
Definitely had a choice for Nagasaki.
He doesn't seem interested in ever referencing Iran's unrelenting pursuit of them. And I have a question for the Pope. Is it the right or wrong thing to prevent radical mullahs in Iran, again, the #1 state sponsor of terror, from ever having nuclear weapons? Today, President Trump raised this very important question. Take a look.
Well, I wonder if the Pope has like had any second thoughts now that Hannity has quit the team.
Yep.
I bet this news just shook the whole Vatican.
Honestly, the moralizing of the Pope. This is just a really...
Sean Hannity, he quit. There is no more Sean Hannity.
What did Sean Hannity say when American protesters got killed by ICE?
Yeah. This is just a way for a lapsed Catholic to justify not going to church anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah, buddy.
Right? Like, no more Catholic guilt for me. I'm not even in the church anymore. Don't worry about
exactly. I completely divorced my wife first before I started dating my colleague.
Yeah.
And it was quick. It was quick. It was a quick rebound. But, I mean, honestly.
Very few of these people talk to God.
Except potentially the guy that he's lecturing there, if you believe in Catholicism. Maybe he should take it up with God if he has such an issue with what the Pope is saying, who's supposed to be the communicator with God himself.
I can't wait to see my Catholic right-wing family this summer.
I think we should do 17 too, because it's, well, we're in the neighborhood.
Here is Sean Hannity with another theory. He is now that he has left Catholicism. He can now like theorize on the dark arts and other possible religions. There he is.
And by the way, the New York Mets, they are on an 11-game losing streak, including, right after the mayor met and hugged the team mascot, Mr. Met, at Citi Field on April 9th, a phenomenon people are calling the Mamdani curse. Here with reaction, outnumbered co-host Emily Campagna. Well, 11, it's kind of hard to lose.
Oh, wait a second. Pause it for a second. I just want to make it clear. This is not an aside. This is a segment. We're going to do a segment to see if Mamdani actually cursed the Mets by hugging well, let's tune into this.
He's a Mets fan.
By all means.
No, keep it big. Finishing.
That's it.
That's it.
We don't have the segment. It's just him introducing the segment.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't get to watch to see the in-depth coverage of the potential curse that Mamdani has cast on the Mets.
Fox is entirely elder abuse.
It really is. It really is. But I mean, honestly, it's maybe because when Zoran met with Mr. Met, he communicated his radical Islamist ideology, because Sid Rosenberg, if you know him from
being racist,
from also just being close with Trump, but he's a New York City radio host guy, just put his tweet up. He said, "This was me at Citi Field last season being ignored by Mr. Met. Yesterday, Mr. and Mrs. Met were hugging and kissing our anti-Semite mayor."
Damn, a throuple?
Easy to conclude that Mr. Met is an anti-Semite.
I mean, what are we doing?
They're losing their minds.
So he said, this is him at last season being ignored by Mr. Met. So maybe he already had these radical views, Mr. Met, and Mamdani just triggered it for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, Mom Donnie convinced the Mets to redistribute their victories.
Oh yeah, Speaker Menon is a big guest of Sid Rosenberg's program, by the way. These effing lunatics.
Insane. Calling from a 647 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Callum from Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Callum from Halifax, Nova Scotia. What's on your mind?
Just some fun Canadian things. Well, first off, about a month ago now, it's a bit old, but Avi Lewis was elected as the new Democratic Party's leader.
We did mention
which
that.
was really exciting for. Oh yeah, okay. I must have missed that one.
And you know,
he
he came on. We interviewed him
really
before
exciting.
that, right?
Oh, I didn't see that. All right, I will go
Alright.
back and look through that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing is today, Carney announced his pick for the CUSMA Agreement Committee for the Canadians, which I think there was some really interesting picks in there, which he had Aaron O'Toole, the former Conservative leader, former premier from Quebec, and another former Conservative cabinet member, just as they look to go back into those negotiations. And I just also kind of just think it speaks to what Carney's thoughts are on the moment for a lot of that, like relationships with America and Canada, leaning more into that, you know, conservative Canadian politics of take as much as you can take and not give much back. But
right.
I was curious if you guys had any thoughts on those negotiations and those picks or anything of that nature.
No, I mean, I'm afraid I have not followed that terribly closely. But
Totally
it does appear that, you know, I think it's not hard. It's not a hard political decision for Carney to come to, that being at least American skeptical is of value in Canadian politics right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he also had that announcement where he was like, we're no longer going to send 70 cents on the dollar to the American military, which I thought was like, if he actually does it, I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
But I've been hurt before by Canadian politicians.
I bet. Appreciate the call.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Should we play this number 16?
Yeah, it's pretty vile. I don't know.
The only reason it matters at all is just because the guy's elected into office.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's I think it's worth doing. I mean, at this point, the House acted on the temporary protected status of Haitians right now. We're talking, I think it's close to 400,000 Haitians are in this country. Temporary protected status is when people are either escaping extraordinary violence or extraordinary catastrophes and cannot reasonably go back to their homes and you know, have the capacity to rebuild their lives. And between the hurricanes and political upheaval and our frankly multiple occasions where we have either helped with a coup, engaged in a coup, facilitated a coup, encouraged a coup, Haiti is incredibly destabilized. But this was a big selling point for the Republicans in the run up to the election, Springfield, Ohio. But here is Representative Brendan Gill. Where is he from?
He represents Texas, a suburb north of Dallas, and his wife is Dinesh D'Souza's kid. And yeah,
Ooh.
he's married. He's married to Dinesh's daughter, and he's an old investment banker turned troll turned representative.
Here he is being interviewed by Benny Johnson.
American culture and revere our history and adhere to the cultural norms in our civilization, which, by the way, is the whole reason why people immigrate into the United States, because our culture I believe in many ways is superior to other cultures across the globe.
Wait, that's why people move here and then don't adopt our cultures because our culture is superior? Or is it because, we bombed their country or like strangled them, whatever?
United States, because our culture, I believe in many ways is superior to other cultures across the globe. We got to recognize that not all cultures are equal. They're not all equally compatible with America's governing framework. They're not all equally moral. They don't all have equal dignity. And we ought to recognize that bringing in third world countries where some lunatic is grilling a cat in an American park where children are playing around with is a culture that is incompatible with our own.
Speaking of incompatibility, sometimes it's important to compare just broad numbers. The average IQ in Haiti is 68. The average IQ 68 and 67, depending on what number I've pulled up here. Between 67 and 68. Average IQ in America is like 105. How is that supposed to be compatible? How is that supposed to work? Same thing with Somalia, by the way. The average IQ in Somalia hovers around 70, and that's the threshold for mentally handicapped, according to most psychological theses here in this country.
Pause.
So,
this is unbelievably grotesque. Just in case you were ever wondering, I mean, I don't know if that statistic is accurate, but it speaks more to the IQ test than it does to anything about Haitians or Somalians. Yeah. The Haiti's economy was saddled for 120 years, 100 years with having to pay back the French for their losses when the Haitians were no longer their slaves. And they had to pay reparations to their slave owners for something like 80% of their existence as an independent country.
122 years.
And an enormous percentage of their GDP, like 20, 40% maybe at different periods. You just imagine having to develop a country with that kind of burden. And incidentally, they paid because the French were blockading the island. Not terribly dissimilar to what we're doing to Cuba, at least into impact. And then on top of that, repeated over and over again since the Haitian independence, where the U.S. was terrified at the idea of slaves who overthrow their masters, for interval after interval, where we have directly or indirectly helped overthrow or destabilize their governments there. I mean, it is shocking. And the idea that you're going to compare cultures, aside from the lies about the cat in the park,
right?
That you're going to compare cultures as if one is superior than the other. It's just absurd. Every single mess we saw out of Springfield was employers saying I love my Haitian workers. They're amazing. They've saved the town.
How did he transition from Somalia to Haiti? I'm still quite unclear about that, except if you're just thinking about black people.
Yeah. Black people hated by Nazis.
Yeah. And so it's not about the culture. It's amazing how they use that as such a fig leaf. We've moved on from race science measuring the skull shape of different people in different parts of the world to just saying the same exact stuff, but attributing it to culture. And they betray how this is about race, and they're calling essentially black people mentally handicapped by transitioning seamlessly from talking about Somalia to talking about Haiti. So is it about the culture? Are you saying that Haiti and Somalia are culturally similar? I would like some fact checking on that front. Or did you just see black skin and you moved from one thought in your mind to the other?
I think you got that. I think you already know the answer to that. Absolutely disgusting.
And we also know that the IQ test is one of...
Let's be clear. This is an elected Republican official.
Yes,
exactly.
This isn't some rando who is on, on a Twitch stream or a Kick stream or a Rumble. This is an elected member of the Republican Party. He is a federal lawmaker, and here he is. And like the idea that we can hear about, what a Twitch streamer said or somebody at a protest said or whatnot. But this guy goes on to a national show, a guy who was traveling around with Kristi Noem. Sorry for that, Benny Johnson. I guess you picked the wrong horse to bet on in that administration. But nevertheless, a big enough show that the Russians provided him hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to get their word out back in the day, supposedly unbeknownst to him. But this is a national show with a federal lawmaker, just out and out racist bullshit, and not a peep. Like, if this happened on the Democratic side, there would be weeks of coverage on CNN.
Part of the problem is, even our centrist press isn't really clear where they stand on IQ. And I just entered a few things into the record. One is a Christopher Hitchens essay in The Nation when Charles Murray's bell curve was coming out, and he had the line here: there is and always has been an unusually high and consistent correlation between the stupidity of a given person and that person's propensity to be impressed by the measurement of IQ. That's right. And anybody who hears this, who feels some sense of superiority by quoting IQ statistics they got from Twitter, should know, like, you're a little person. You're really pathetic. Also, Stephen Jay Gould, who wrote one of the great books on this, The Mismeasure of Man, had this to say in the 90s too.
People talk about the fact that black people score 15 points less than white people. What do you think of this kind of numbering?
It's a fact whose meaning is totally unclear and whose existence doesn't in any sense specify the cause. Take the black-white difference in America, which is an average of 15 points, which is one standard deviation. By definition, the test is standardized so that 15 points will be a standard deviation. That's true. Nobody denies that. The issue has never been that. The issue has been why. And the existence just doesn't tell you anything about why. The existence of the 15-point difference is thoroughly consistent with the two utterly extreme interpretations, namely nature and nurture. That is, in principle, it could be so. I don't think it is. That the difference is due to inborn capacities that vary between the races. And the other obvious explanation is that the difference is due to the enormous social disadvantages that the legacy and history of racism continues to impose upon the lives of black people in the United States. Either explanation would equally well account for the difference. So it is a fact whose meaning is totally unspecified by the existence of the fact itself.
Yeah, it's really well said. And the idea that you are going to use the creation of the IQ test, which is a fairly new creation in human history, to explain broad, like, poverty, geopolitical differences, social differences, racial differences, and you don't, like, think for 2 seconds that perhaps you're maybe using the wrong metric, shows that this is really about motivated reasoning to justify hierarchies. So much of what conservative media does is it tells people that they don't have to feel badly about having views that are either racist, sexist, exploitative, what have you. These are bedtime stories for people, and this IQ thing is a part of it as well, because if you look down upon others, but you have some sort of scientific or pseudoscientific explanation for your hatred, then you don't necessarily need to feel that badly.
I would also say that there is clearly like a eugenics strain going through the conservative movement these days. I mean, we see it in the context of RFK. We saw it really in COVID, right? Like, where it's okay if you die if you have any type of pre-existing condition. If you haven't been you haven't been working out, if you haven't, if your immune system is compromised in any way, if you have diseases that you haven't fixed yourself, then like your life is slightly more expendable. And
USAID, Trump gutting that was about letting people in the global South die.
I think they apply this to America as well, frankly. I mean, we see it all the time. And it is the, you know, like even in the context of back when Paul Ryan was the Republican soon-to-be star, he would tell this fake story about someone brown bagging lunch. And this whole notion of poverty being immoral in some sense, and that you are morally righteous if you are wealthy, which is exactly, frankly, how I knew that Donald Trump was going to be in a position to win the Republican primary, because he sits on stage and he says, I'm a billionaire. Therefore, I know better than you, period. End of story. And it is all tied into this, this attitude of like, if you have any a weakness in any fashion, your life is just less valuable. It's just less relevant.
Yeah, and you know, we not only is IQ horseshit, but race is also horseshit, as Emma pointed out with the seamless transition between Somalia and Haiti. Much different gene pools, if we're really going to talk about genetics like that. There's not a Haitian race. They're not even a black race. Africa as a continent is one of the most genetically diverse. It is the most genetically diverse on the entire continent. So like this race doesn't exist. IQ is a horseshit measurement, and the dumbest people on earth, which include like people like Sam Harris, because he had a famous debate with Ezra Klein about this, where he, as was said on TMBS, a Michael Brooks show, that he lit his career on fire. There hasn't really been a wrestling with this, and it's still going to crop up every once in a while, this genetic IQ superiority horseshit.
And it also fits into the natalism on the right, this obsession with birth rates as well. It crosses across, you know, it's a shared ideological view on the right that isn't just confined to like the traditional conservatives that we speak about there, or like elected Republicans. Elon Musk is all about this kind of thing. So, you know, we're in a dark period. We're in a dark period of this stuff, and it's not a coincidence that like the forces of capital, that money, very much prefer this kind of conversation to be had here, because it naturalizes the inequality that benefits them.
All right, that's it for us, folks. I'm going to read a couple IMs. The phone portion of our program has ended. Breaking news, reading here. Please confirm that Sheila Chafilis McCormick resigned 20 minutes before her expulsion vote. I know they were going to do a series of expulsion votes today. I guess I didn't realize it was going to be today. Do we know?
There's also one for the Republican Corey Mills, who's been accused of domestic violence. Although, as of this morning, I saw Mike Johnson was kind of defending him and saying that, like,
it's in the Bible. It's
in the Bible that adultery goes back prior time in memoriam and things like that. So they're going to try to resist so that they have the numbers here. But I think they, you know, I don't know. It seems like the Corey Mills is probably coming up because they're doing this tit for tat thing with such small margins.
All right. 5 IMs and we're out of here. Snake Balloon. Got my copy of Where We Live Is Our Home. Thanks. Chris Burdick. In retrospect, our first clue to the Mets' anti-Semitism should have been when their ballpark did its Blood Libel Day promotion.
Yeah, the owner of the team, I believe, is a Jewish man.
Next Tuesday's Kafia Day. First 10,000 attendees get a Kafia.
The Mill Rind. When you leave Catholicism, you're allowed to wear rubber implement on your Johnson. Okay,
Bobblehead Yasser Arafat. I can't stop doing this. You got to get a bobblehead Yasser Arafat on Wednesday's game.
Daniel from Virginia. Have any of you read that Wired piece about Dolan's surveillance state? He repeatedly tracked trans women through facial recognition, among other Big Brother stuff. I didn't read that piece.
I haven't read it. I do want to read it. I saw it. Capitalists shouldn't own sports teams.
Frank Fisto. It's not accurate. It's based on a debunked book that grouped Africa as a continent anyway by IQ. It's false and racist and still making the rounds.
Yeah.
IQ is inherently racist. Even with actual IQ stats, IQ is based off of nutrients during growth and wealth more than ethnicity anyway. And the final I am of the day, working for free. I would love to call in on a 218 number to talk about nursing home labor and Peggy Flanagan. All right, let's do one more since we cannot fulfill that. Sam called me honey. Sam, please look up the fist sculpture in Detroit. Matt, Brian, Emma, great job today, folks. See you tomorrow.
It might take all the strength I got to get to where I want, but I know somehow I'm gonna get there. I wasn't looking when I just got caught between the truth and the lie bar. But finding out won't make me feel any better. Yeah, I know the clock is ticking, but the meds are gonna kick in, and my pilot light shining bright. I guess somewhere the choice was made for the option where you don't get paid, for the road that bends before it finally breaks you. I guess somehow I lost my drive.